ABC Kinderteach presents Chanticleer and the Fox, a Canterbury Tale illustrated by Barbara Cooney. Once upon a time, a poor widow, a woman whose husband has passed away and she has not remarried, getting on in years, getting older, lived in a small cottage beside a small group of trees, which stood in a little valley. This widow, about whom I shall tell you my tale, had patiently led a very simple life since the day her husband died. By careful management, trying not to spend too much money, she was able to take care of herself and her two daughters. So there is the widow and there are the two daughters. She had only 3 large sows, female pigs that have had piglets, 3 cows, and also a sheep called Molly. There are the 3 pigs or sows, 1, 2, 3. There's the cows, 1, 2, 3, and there's the sheep, Molly. Her bedroom was very sooty. The walls were dark from smoke, as was her kitchen, in which she ate many a scanty, very small meal. She was never sick from overeating, which means that she didn't have enough to eat too much to make herself sick from eating too much. Her table was usually set with only white and black, milk, which is white, and dark bread, which is black, of which there was no shortage. There was plenty of milk and dark bread, and sometimes there was broiled, cooked over a hot fire, bacon, and an egg or two, for she was, as it were, a kind of dairy woman, a lady who milks cows. She had a yard fenced all around with sticks, in which she had a rooster, a male or boy chicken, named Chanticleer. For crowing there was not his equal. No other chicken was as good at crowing as Chanticleer. In all the land his voice was merrier, happy and full of energy, than the merry organ that plays in church, and his crowing from his resting place was more trustworthy than a clock. His comb was redder than fine coral, and turreted like a castle. So his comb is this thing, and see how it kind of goes up and down? It looks like the turret of a castle. His bill was black and shone like jet. Jet is a kind of stone, and his legs and toes were like azure, which is this color, of course. His nails were whiter than the lily, and his feathers were like burnished or shined up gold. So this looks like shined up gold. Now this fine rooster had 7 hens, all colored exceedingly very much like him. The hen with the prettiest throat was called Fair, or light-colored. Demoiselle Partlet, she was polite, discreet, did not say things that she shouldn't say. Debonair, very likable and looked good. And companionable, friendly and easy to get along with, and she had conducted herself, well behaved, so well since the time that she was 7 days old that, truly, she held the heart of Chanticleer all tightly locked, which means he liked her the best. It was a great joy to hear them sing in sweet harmony. They sounded good together. When the bright sun began to rise, for in those days, so I'm told, beasts and birds could talk and sing. So, they're saying a long time ago animals could talk. Well, that's not really true, but that's just part of the story. And so it happened one day at dawn, as Chanticleer sat on his perch surrounded by the hens, that he began to groan in his throat like a man troubled by his dreams. When Partlet heard him moaning this way, she was frightened and said, "Dear heart, what ails you that you groan in such a manner?" And he answered, saying, "Madame, I dreamed just now that I was in much danger. I dreamed that I was roaming up and down within a yard, okay, roaming around, when I saw a beast like a hound, or like a fox, which tried to grab my body and would have killed me. His color was between yellow and red, and his tail and both ears were tipped with black. So tail and ears tipped in black, different from the rest of his fur. His snout, nose and mouth of an animal, was small, and his 2 eyes glowed. I almost died of fear at the sight of him. Doubtless, without a doubt, that's what caused my groaning.
Go on, she said. Shame on you. You know I cannot love a coward,
Someone who's not brave.
by my faith. Haven't you a man's heart, and haven't you a beard? Be merry, husband. Do not fear dreams.
Thank you, Madam Partlet, he said, for your learned advice, giving suggestions based on things learned. I do say that when I see the beauty of your face all scarlet red about the eyes, this is scarlet red, my fears die away. So he's saying, oh, thank you for telling me to be brave. I'll be brave. But does his dream come true? Let's see. And with these words, he flew down from the rafter. And the rafter is usually the high part of a building, along with all the hens, for it was day. With a clucking he called them all to some grain which he found lying about the yard. He was as regal, fancy-looking, as a prince in his palace, and was no longer afraid. He looked like a lion as he roamed up and down on his toes. He barely set foot to the earth. Chanticleer, walking with all his pride, with his 7 wives beside him, cast up his eyes at the bright sun. He crowed with a happy voice. Listen how the happy birds sing, and how the fresh flowers grow. My heart is full of gaiety, happiness, and joy. But suddenly a sorrowful event overtook him. A sad thing happened. I wonder what sort of sad thing happened. Maybe it's from his dream. A fox, tipped with black, just like in his dream, was filled with sly wickedness, sneaky meanness, had lived in the grove, again a small group of trees, 3 years. That same night he burst through the hedges, and hedges look like this, into the yard where fair Chanticleer and his wives were in the habit of going, and this fox lay quietly in a bed of herbs until almost noon of that day. Partlet, with all her sisters nearby, lay merrily, happily, bathing, or laying, so basically sunbathing, in the sand, with her back to the sun, and the lordly, or prince-like, Chanticleer sang more joyfully than the mermaid in the sea. Now it happened that, as he cast his eyes upon a butterfly among the herbs, Chanticleer became aware, or saw, of the fox lying low, or hiding in the grass. He had no desire to crow then, but at once cried, "Caw, caw," and started up like a man frightened in his heart. I wonder what's going to happen next. And he would have fled, ran away, at once, if the fox had not said, "My dear sir, alas, where are you going? Are you afraid of me, your father's friend?" So the fox is telling him a story that he was a friend of his father. "The reason I came was only to listen to you sing." I don't know if I believe that. "For truly, you have as merry a voice as any angel in heaven. My lord your father, God bless his soul, and also your courteous, having good manners, mother did me the great honor," something nice, "of visiting my house." So now he's saying not only did he know his father, he's also a friend to his mother, and that they even came to his house. Sounds like it might be a trick. Except for you, I have never heard anyone who could sing as your father did in the morning. In order to make his voice stronger, he would close both his eyes, and he would stand up on his tiptoes and stretch forth his long, slender neck. Now sing, sir, for holy charity, giving help to those in need. Let's see whether you can sing as well as your father. This sounds like a trick. He's telling Chanticleer to close his eyes and sing, and look how close they are. Ooh. And he is a lot like the animal in the picture that Chanticleer dreamed about. Chanticleer began to beat his wings. He stood high on his toes and stretched his neck, closed his eyes, and crowed loudly. At once the fox jumped up, grabbed Chanticleer by the throat, and carried him toward the woods. Oh no! Alas, showing sadness or worry, that Chanticleer flew down from the rafters. Alas, that his wife took no heed of dreams, and all this trouble came on a Friday. Such a cry was never made as was made by all the hens in the yard when they saw Chanticleer captured. The poor widow and her 2 daughters heard the woeful or sad cries of the hens and at once ran out of doors. They saw the fox going toward the grove, carrying away the rooster. "Help, help! Woe is me! Look, a fox!" they screamed and ran after him. Are they going to be able to save Chanticleer? I hope so. The cows, the sheep, and even the hogs, so frightened were they by the shouting, ran after him too. They ran so hard they thought their hearts would burst, so they're all running after the fox. The neighbors' ducks quacked as if they were to be killed, and their geese, from fear, flew over the trees. The noise was so terrible that the bees swarmed from their hive. It seemed that heaven would fall. What's going to happen next? Well, look there's Chanticleer up in the tree. Let's see what happens. "Now, good people, I beg you all to listen." The rooster in the fox's mouth spoke to the fox in spite of his fear, saying, "Sir, if I were you, so help me God, I would say, turn back, you proud peasants," or poor farmers. "I have reached the edge of the wood now. The rooster shall stay here. In spite of you, I will eat him in faith and not be long about it." So Chanticleer tells the fox that he should yell to the people, the woman and the 2 girls, to go back, that he is going to eat Chanticleer. Why would Chanticleer tell the fox to say that? He doesn't want to be eaten unless, let's see. "In faith," the fox answered, "it shall be done." As soon as he spoke the words, the rooster nimbly or quickly, easily, broke away from his mouth and flew at once high into a tree. So the reason Chanticleer told the fox to say something is so that he would open his mouth when he started to talk, and it would give him a chance to fly away, which he did. Good thinking. And he tricked the fox. When the fox saw that the rooster was gone, he said, "Alas, oh Chanticleer, alas, I have done you a bad turn." He has done a bad thing to him. "I frightened you when I grabbed you and took you out of the yard." So he's saying, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to scare you. I was not going to eat you. "But, sir, I did it without evil intention," not planning to do bad things to him, which is a lie. "Come down and I shall tell you what I meant." So he's trying to trick Chanticleer again, but do you think Chanticleer is going to believe him this time? I bet not. "Nay then," which means no then, said Chanticleer, "never again shall you with your flattery," saying that he is wonderful but not really believing it, "get me to sing with my eyes closed. For he who closes his eyes when he should watch, God let him never prosper," never do well in life. "No," said the fox, "but God bring misfortune," bad luck, "to him who is so careless about his self-control as to prattle," talk about silly things, "when he should hold his peace or be quiet." "See," said the widow as the fox slunk or snuck back into the grove. "That is the result of trusting in flattery." And she marched with her flock back to the yard in the little valley.